Do you or have you ever identified as a procrastinator or a perfectionist? If so, day 6 of 100 days of Nice may be helpful to you. I, for the past several years, had identified as a recovering procrastinator and a recovering perfectionist. I am aware that because for so many years those were established patterns of thought and behavior and the emotional states that they trigger for years, it is sometimes triggered back up, and it takes a lot of conscious effort and thought to redirect myself back into my preferred ways of being and operating. So I want to talk about how I used the NICE technique yesterday to overcome that. The self-talk I had for myself yesterday is I am productive. The integrity practice was productively getting through a few things I committed to, such as processing through my emails, getting through my to-do list, and processing paperwork, things along those lines. The compassion, commit, and compliment piece was again the game changer because we know if you identify or if you've at all experienced procrastination or perfectionism and or both, such as the case with myself, you know that the ground rules we've discussed, the no can'ts, no shoulds, no insulting, no name calling, those are kind of like the required ingredients for perfectionism and for procrastination. So committing to following those ground rules really required me to lean on the compassion and the complimenting so I didn't stay stuck there because it was hard to even be in that state without, like, how could you be a perfectionist without thinking not good enough, right? Like they kind of go hand in hand. So the way that I thought about it was acknowledging and recognizing that a lot of the roles and tasks that I have, they're a lot for any one person to fulfill. I am in private practice. I am also a mother and a wife, and I'm physically very distant from my main social support system. Just in the professional realm, a lot, like I'm the marketer, I am the auditor, I am the payments and billing person, I am the service provider. I'm also the one taking the phone calls and doing the scheduling. So I'm like the secretary. I'm the one that's responsible for keeping up to date with training and things like that. So just in my professional hat world, I'm responsible for many of the roles that in other work settings I've had, those roles would be distributed amongst a team of people. So having compassion for myself and recognizing that that is a lot for one person to do successfully, to juggle all of those roles successfully, that allowed me to look at my situation and look upon myself with a little bit more admiration and compassion. The compliment piece was that I gave myself a pat on the shoulder for saying, you know what? Despite all of that, you're doing a really good job in getting the most urgent things done. And you're also doing a really good job in recognizing your limitations, because when you recognize your limitations, then you can more effectively and usefully address them. So, again, that compassion piece allowed me to focus on solutions versus if you take the more procrastinating or perfectionist kind of mentality, then it's more about labeling or being judgmental or critical upon yourself, which makes you feel heavy and low versus okay, I'm doing pretty good. I acknowledge these are some limitations I have. How can I solve these problems? How can I work around it? What can be done a little bit differently? So that was really, really, really helpful. The emotional intelligence piece. Yesterday, I was feeling a lot of tiredness and overwhelmed. So once I went through my emotional intelligence processing, I recognized for the tired that I needed to rejuvenate myself and I also needed some rest. My rejuvenation came through my spiritual practice. So I took 5 minutes aside of my work schedule and I just got on my knees and I allowed myself to pray for 5 minutes. After that, and that just like helped refresh me. It gave me a source of strength, it gave me a source of clarity and empowerment. So that was very, very helpful. Then after that, I'm like, I'm still tired though, and I set my timer for 20 minutes and I allowed myself to take a 20-minute nap. After that, I felt like I was just at a totally different state of mind. I had more clarity, and I even remember having like, I didn't go deep enough into sleep to like have a full on dream, but I was kind of still dreaming in a sense, or like daydreaming, and I was having new perspectives on the day and what was happening and what I needed. So that was just really, really helpful. Afterwards, for the overwhelm piece, what I was able to extract from that was that I need to have more connection between my small daily tasks, my longer term goals, and my systems. So let's start with the small daily tasks. For productivity, in almost any book or speech or anything you find out there, one thing that's pretty common is the ability to learn how to break things down into smaller tasks. I did not do that yesterday. So that was part of the problem. So me being able to recognize, oh, that's what the problem was. Like, you had too many big tasks, and they weren't even tasks, they were full on projects that I was expecting myself to fulfill in the day versus breaking it down into smaller tasks. So the problem isn't me. It's not that I'm not enough or I'm not effective enough or anything like that. It's that I needed, and moving forward, need to pay more attention to the size of the tasks that I'm putting on myself to accomplish in that day. So, really knowing how to break projects down into small tasks. That does many things for us psychologically. When we break something down into something small, it gives us a sense of accomplishment when we could cross it off the list or we could check it off. And then that gives us a boost of energy and motivation to then cross off another thing. What it also does is allows us to have a more accurate concept of time and just project management. Because if, yes, so that is part of the practice of being able to become more effective and productive, is learning how to take these goals and projects and breaking it down into small daily things that need to get done versus in the past what tended to be my work method was just like cramming until it got done. That isn't a very sustainable way of working. Like sometimes it's exactly what you need, but as during my procrastination days, that was like the only way that I worked. Like I knew about the project, I knew about the assignment, I knew about whatever. I wouldn't really do anything about it until right before the deadline. Then I would cram, give it my everything, but then be a zombie, exhausted, depleted, not want to look at it anymore ever again, all of that stuff. If y'all have been there, like I don't even need to go into details. You know how it is. So, breaking things down to smaller tasks, having a connection between my long term goals. As I kind of alluded to in the compliments piece, like I gave myself a pat on the back for getting the urgent things done. And that's good. And I'm not going to take that away from myself. Like, that is good that I'm able to do that. When it comes to productivity, that needs to be coupled with our long term goals. So, if I catch myself only putting out fires, only dealing with crisis type situations, I'm not making progress on my long term goals. I'm just kind of in survival mode. I'm just in crisis mode. And that is exhausting. That is depleting. That is not a desirable state to be in, especially for an extended period of time. Like, as humans, we are an incredible, incredible species. However, And we can overcome incredible, incredible crises. But living in a crisis state or in a stressful state for an extended period of time literally breaks away and destroys our body and our psychological and emotional and spiritual well-being. And so when I was able to recognize through this processing of the feeling of overwhelm that there wasn't much of a connection between the daily tasks that I had set out for myself and the long term goals and visions that I am committed to. And so that was just a gentle reminder that that's kind of the underlying need. I need to figure out what needs to change so that I could move out of the crisis mode, just doing what has to get done today, and move into a more proactive and empowered state of this is what I want to create, this is what I want to happen, and I need to break it down into small tasks that I could accomplish in a day in 5 minutes or less. So at least I'm 1 centimeter closer to what that goal and vision is. And then the systems piece, because there's been a shift in my professional world, then my system needs to shift as well. And so that was just a reminder that my system of operating, my system of communications, my system of how I like filter my daily activities and things of that nature needs to be adapted to effectively fit my life right now. So I hope the takeaways are also helpful to you and you can think of ways to apply them. And if you're interested in practicing emotional intelligence with me, I have a emotional intelligence support group. We meet every first and third Tuesday of the month at 11 a.m. Central. I'll have the link below and I look forward to seeing you again. Till next time.